And just like that, it's a new month. How are those resolutions going? If you made a plan and stuck with it, kudos. If you stumbled, struggled, or missed those targets, today is a good time to start all over. If fitness and stressing less were on your New Year's list, then you won't want to miss what we have in store for you today on today's show. I'm Adrian Atkinson. You're watching Jamaica Magazine. Stay tuned.
It's absolutely critical that we receive the vaccines. You will see hospitalizations and indeed deaths likely come down. And so there is a lot of value to be gained by getting as many vulnerables on board as possible. So tell your mothers, tell your aunts, listen out for yourselves if you're over 60, and take the vax, because the vax is what will help you to guard against the COVID virus and indeed help your relatives, your friends, those who you come in contact with for the same benefit.
Catch up with the latest government news next.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, February 1. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is calling on all stakeholders to exercise patience in the COVID-19 economic recovery process. Mr. Holness reasons that though there has been incredible signs of recovery, economies across the world have not yet fully recovered. He points to the United Nations World Tourism Organization's survey, which predicts that tourist arrivals could grow to 78% in 2022 when compared with 2021. While expressing optimism of a stronger recovery following the pandemic, the Prime Minister says the economic improvement can only exist in a stable society.
It is up to us to be agile and embrace the post-COVID new normal. We have to be nimble and constantly adjust and adapt to whatever the pandemic throws at us. What is clear, however, is that we must cast our eyes to moving beyond the pandemic. Almost 2 years into the pandemic, our populations know what to do to keep themselves safe. They know the protocols, and they have access to vaccines. The balance of responsibility, therefore, now shifts from governments to individuals and families for their own protection.
The Prime Minister was speaking Thursday as he opened the Sandals Royal Bahamian Spa Resort in Nassau, Bahamas. A 404-room hotel, the property was renovated at a cost of $55 million. It's one of 4 Sandals resorts that were closed during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic and have since been revamped and reopened. The government's public-private partnerships PPPs in infrastructure have generated over $2 billion in investments and more than $455 million in revenue via concessions since 2001. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the engagements have served to improve efficiency and service delivery in the operation of state assets.
The government, therefore, regards PPPs as a tool to deliver effective, cost-efficient, world-class, resilient infrastructure and associated services.
Notable PPP outcomes include the Sangster International Airport and Kingston Container Terminal. The Prime Minister says outturns of this nature demonstrate that the PPP privatization program is a key pillar to support economic recovery, especially from the fallout caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. He says government has an attractive portfolio of additional projects that are at various stages of execution. These cover important sectors and are expected to have substantial economic and social impact.
Privatization of non-core assets releases revenues to the government to fund the budget and to undertake well-needed post-COVID social and other core priorities and interventions.
Mr. Holness was speaking recently during the Jamaica Stock Exchange's 17th Regional Investments and Capital Markets Conference. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says government is looking to table the proposed large-scale and pioneer industry bill in Parliament in the next financial year. The legislation aims to facilitate investments valued at over $1 billion and is among key priorities being programmed for the upcoming year.
We will be making special provisions through legislation to be passed in Parliament or to be tabled in Parliament in the upcoming fiscal year to attract large-scale and pioneer investments in Jamaica of a size greater than $1 billion.
Dr. Clarke was addressing the JSE's 17th Regional Investments and Capital Markets Conference. And finally, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie says government has so far secured at least 75 of the 100 lifeguard vests promised to rafters in the community of Leith. 30 raft captains based in the Hanover community are to benefit from these vests as part of the ministry's development program in rural communities across the island. During a recent tour of the community, Minister McKenzie stressed that government's rural development agenda was not just about the physical infrastructure, but also dealing with issues such as helping to develop the skills of individuals.
They have said clearly that one of the things that they need to enhance what they are doing is life vests. We are going to be providing 100 life vests for the rafters here so that they can use that. And that will be done through the Social Development Commission. And we are committed in supporting this effort.
He says the ministry is in the process of sourcing the remaining 25 lifeguard vests for the rafters. The minister has further instructed the Social Development Commission to meet with the rafters and develop a program to enhance their skills, while also helping to mitigate the unemployment challenges through consultations with residents in the area. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
A whole way of celebrating it. They say the people them in them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn up, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal pants of it, you know.
Medal.
Amount of tongue we give them, you know.
These celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what the activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
I forgot to download the app to get the updates then.
Prime Minister extends COVID-19 containment measures until February 10, projects 7 to 10% economic growth, and announces a national campaign against illegal guns and gangs. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. The Andrew Holness-chaired National Security Council (NSC) has agreed on the development of a national campaign against illegal guns and gangs. That decision followed Friday's first meeting of the NSC in the new year. The campaign will mainly target young men on all the major media platforms as it seeks to educate the population on the dangers of illegal guns as well as dissuade persons from dealing, trafficking, possessing, and using illegal weapons. In a statement, the NSC says a significant public education campaign will be launched as part of efforts to inform persons about the new Firearms Act and penalties for involvement with illegal weapons. The NSC also agreed to incentivize information sharing that leads to the recovery of illegal firearms. As such, a dedicated fund will be created to support established channels of intelligence gathering and information sharing. Prime Minister Andrew Holness left the island Thursday for the Bahamas, where he witnessed the reopening of Sandals Royal Bahamian Spa Resort. The 404-room Nassau-based hotel was renovated at a cost of $55 million. It's one of 4 Sandals resorts that were closed during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic and have since been revamped and reopened. During Thursday's opening ceremony, Mr. Holness urged tourism stakeholders to exercise patience in the pandemic recovery process. Citing a recent UN World Tourism Organization survey, which shows visitor arrivals could grow by up to 78%, the Prime Minister expressed optimism that countries would recover stronger and better than before the pandemic.
We have to be nimble and constantly adjust and adapt to whatever the pandemic throws at us. What is clear, however, is that we must cast our eyes to moving beyond the pandemic.
Before his departure, Prime Minister Andrew Holness was in Parliament Tuesday, where he announced that the ongoing COVID-19 containment measures would continue unchanged until the morning of February 11. The nightly curfew remains in place between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. the following day. All other COVID-19 management measures also remain for the 2-week period.
All the measures, the curfew, the restrictions on gatherings, the requirements to wear masks, particularly indoors, to maintain physical distance, all remain in place. We have not, however, further tightened measures, as we know that would have had significant adverse impact on our economy and the livelihoods of Jamaicans who are already struggling.
In the meantime, the Prime Minister has made it clear that government will soon suspend the measures contained in the Disaster Risk Management Act (DRMA). Mr. Holness says though beneficial for public health during the onset of the pandemic, the measures have proven to be devastating to the economy, education and other sectors. As such, he says the restrictions under the DRMA will be lifted in the coming months, removing impediments to economic recovery.
If it is that our vaccination rates don't rise to the level where we can be guaranteed herd immunity, then the government can only help our citizens by providing them with information, encouraging them to get vaccinated. But we cannot, and I repeat this point, we cannot keep our economy under restrictions. For the year ending March 2022, growth is projected to be in the 7 to 10% range. Now that's amazing, given the fall-offs that we had experienced.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness Tuesday on day one of the 2-day Jamaica Stock Exchange Regional Investments and Capital Markets Conference. Among the factors contributing to the economic recovery is remittances from the Jamaican diaspora, which the Prime Minister says buffered the island's balance of payment and net international reserves when the tourism sector was shuttered due to COVID-19. Rebound is also being seen in the tourism and construction industries, and the country is enjoying a favorable consumer and business confidence rating. Mr. Holness is attributing these positive economic signs to government's COVID-19 containment measures and growth-inducing activities during the height of the pandemic. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has made the case for Jamaica to focus more on future industries that will be relevant in this fourth industrial revolution. The Prime Minister is urging Jamaican industry leaders and entrepreneurs to leapfrog and meet the demands of the new world economy with rapid changing technology so that the island isn't left behind.
We must bring new ideas and technologies to expand and increase efficiency of our traditional industries. We must also create and invest in the industries of the future to diversify our industrial and productive base.
Mr. Holness also used the Regional Investments Conference to urge commercial banks to reconsider the imposition of new banking fees.
My job as a leader of the government is to facilitate as much with market-based approaches and solutions. But I have a higher duty to protect the equity of the country, to protect the vulnerable of the country. I am not here appealing to your conscience. It makes good business sense to protect the people of the country.
And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us again for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Let's get back to those broken resolutions. Maybe you missing the mark is because your goals are too big. Here's a tip. Break down those big dreams into smaller, simpler steps. If you're lagging on the fitness journey, for example, instead of a 30-minute workout, start with a 5-minute routine, like the one in our next feature.
Hi, I'm Charnette, and this is your 30-minute workout in 5 minutes. Let's go! This is a full body workout that you can easily do at home. It's for beginners, so you can start with 2 or 3 sets of each rep. And remember guys, before you start any exercise routine, check with your doctor. Remember to hydrate.
Did you like that workout? Visit our YouTube channel to watch and do it again. Just search for 5 minutes full body workout for beginners. Now we're going to take you on a stroll in nature at two of the island's public gardens. Sometimes chasing goals can be a bit stressful, and we all can use a break. Watch this.
They offer a large serving of nature with a dash of history and science. Public gardens, created and maintained to educate Jamaicans on the importance of plant life. They also provide free green spaces to enjoy the benefits of the great outdoors. There are 4 such spaces on the island, all supported by the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. And after making our way through Bath and trekking through Castleton in the first part of our journey, we're now 4,800 feet above sea level. The Cinchona Botanical Gardens, located in the cool, moist hills of East Rural St. Andrew.
Cinchona was first established in 1868 by the then Governor Sir John Peter Grant. At that time, the gardens was used as an experimental location. Various plants from other European countries were brought here for medicinal purposes, like the eucalyptus, the camphor, and other herbs are grown up here.
Cinchona is unique as it is the only garden in the Caribbean at such a high elevation.
Cinchona got its name at the time when there was a malaria infestation on the island, and that Cinchona plant was brought to Jamaica by a governor of Peru. The Cinchona plant was used to cure the malaria by way of extracting the bark of the plant and transforming that into quinine. And they used that to work on the malaria.
There are no conservation programs at Cinchona, but if you're feeling adventurous, make the hike and study an array of exotic plants on location, including the almost 200-year-old hoop pine. Our journey ends at the largest green space in the Kingston metropolitan area. Though run by the non-governmental organization Nature Preservation Foundation, it still receives a subsidy from the government and is free to the public.
Hope Gardens comprises of 260 acres stretching from Old Hope Road to Skyline Drive, but the actual gardens is mainly 60 active acres. The garden was a gift to Major Richard Hope, who was part of the contingency of Pennant Venables who came to conquer the island in about 1655 when the English invaded and took over from the Spanish.
Hope was an experimental site. They introduced exotic plants here and replanted them on the island once successfully propagated. Offspring of these plants remain in the garden.
We have the cannonball tree, which is native to the Amazon rainforest, that bears a fruit that takes 18 months to ripe, and it also weighs about 15 pounds. We also have the sausage tree, and that fruit can weigh anywhere between 15 to 27 pounds, and it really does look like a huge German sausage. The tree is native to West Africa, in Senegal.
Hope is vital in the conservation of the island's wildlife and flora.
We have a particular project in which we go to the cockpit country and get endemic plants, take them back to Hope Gardens, grow them and reintroduce them into the wild. The zoo also has a world-famous iguana project in which They have rediscovered the local Jamaican iguana, bred them successfully in captivity, and have introduced over 400 native iguanas into the hills of Hellshire.
This garden is usually bustling with activities. Family gatherings, professional photography, and school excursions are among the popular happenings.
The Chinese Garden is also a special place within the Hope Gardens. It was a gift, a $3 million gift from the People's Republic of China to the people and government of Jamaica.
I like about Hope Gardens is that you are free. You can do anything you want. You can paint, you can play, you can go to the zoo, like see the animals.
My group came here because we have a history group project. We thought that coming to the Hope Gardens would be a good idea, especially on a Sunday, because on a Sunday it's quiet and I think it's very conducive to practice. There's greenery and it's an open space. So, you know, you get a nice fresh breath of air while you're here, and it's, I think it helps you to focus more on what you need to do.
Hope Gardens is a getaway for persons wanting a break from the hustle and bustle of city life. A visit to public gardens provides this opportunity. Nature beckons. What are you waiting for?
We end the show with more stress-relieving tips. Laugh more, dance, sing. Hang out with friends and family. That way you will have more strength and vigor to hit those targets. I'm Adrian Atkinson. On behalf of the entire production team here at the GIS, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.